I guess just touch on this for a moment. President Obama is in the Middle East, is in Israel yesterday, is in Ramallah and the West Bank today. I, you know, Today he said some very powerful things about the need to have empathy and that it wasn't right and that it wasn't fair that a Palestinian child should grow up under occupation, should not know what it was like to have freedom of movement, to not have their own state. And I think that's fair enough. But I guess there's only really 2 points here. It's just it's the same story, which is that U.S. policy towards the Middle East has been to a two-state solution along 67 borders, right? That's the policy. Now, some people think it should be a binational, one-state democracy. Obviously, there are voices on the right and voices who are getting more and more powerful in Israel that think it should be a one-state non-democracy, which is, of course, what it has functionally been for the past several decades under the occupation. What's shocking to me about this whole discussion is that coming out and just saying, if you support the two-state solution, which is supposed to be the moderate, sensible, official U.S. option, and then you say actual policy steps should be taken for that to happen, that's considered really extreme and really radical. Because we've never really said, the extent of pressing Israel to halt settlements is a couple of sharply worded statements. There's never been anything really stronger behind that from U.S. politicians. And that has made the process fraudulent because there's no accountability in the process. And some Israeli politicians have said, look, in order for us to do what we need to do domestically, we need the United States to stop enabling us, to stop enabling these sectors of Israeli society that will continue to endlessly occupy East Jerusalem and the West Bank. So, look, everybody deserves security in that situation. Everybody deserves safety and everybody deserves human rights, regardless of what the final outcome is. But there are three vital takeaways. One is it needs to stop being a radical and extreme position to articulate that you support steps to implement what actual U.S. foreign policy is. Number two, there needs to be accountability in Israel for the sake of our foreign policy and the sake of what is left in moderate politics in Israel. And number three, it's not an equidistant conflict. Okay? One group of people is living under an occupation. All right? Now, are there terrible political factions in Palestinian political life? Absolutely. Are there horrific human rights violations from groups like Hamas? Of course. Should that be a factor in considerations and strategy and security? Absolutely. But fundamentally, one group is under occupation, one group is under siege, and one group simply is not even a state. It doesn't have the modern mechanics and power and legitimacy. So it's not an equidistant conflict. And these are great words from President Obama. And he also said a lot of words that people, I know my grandmother and other people in my family will be very happy to hear too. But the reality is that, look, if everybody knows theoretically where this needs to go, it needs to stop happening at some point. Like if your friend is trying to lose weight and everybody knows that that's the goal, and then someone says, hey, I won't bring over ice cream to the dinner tonight. And it was a really strange analogy. And someone says, how dare you not bring ice cream? That is disgusting. There's a problem there. We're not following through. So I don't even know what the point of this trip is in some respects. But there needs to be follow through really for the sake of everybody in this situation.